Pause.
Hello, everyone.
Now,
Welcome to this other video that I'm doing, and we're going to be reacting to the incredible Japanese prison break by I don't know who. Link's going to be in the description. I forgot. Let's get into it.
Dashlane. Download Dashlane for free if you never want to forget another password. Again, the link in the description.
bad.
Aomori, Japan, 1936. Prisoner Yoshie Shiratori.
Okay, why is this glance like he's trying to kill us? It's like
I don't know.
for no reason. I'm not surprised.
Okay.
For a murderer, he looks like he would kill someone.
Had enough.
He said he was false. It said he was falsely accused for murder.
I know, but I understand why someone would do that. Those eyes.
He's Japanese.
I can't do those eyes.
I'm Korean, Phoenix.
I know. Anywho.
To a murder he did not commit. Falsely imprisoned in Aomori prison. Beaten and tortured every night by prison guard. And, now worse, prosecutors were seeking the death penalty. In his mind, it was time to go. But Aomori prison wasn't the easiest to escape. Regardless, Yoshie Shiratori had nothing to lose, and so at 5:30 a.m., he made his move. He knew there would be a 15-minute gap in the patrol time, as he had studied the guard's routine for months. And when the coast was clear, he pulled out a metal wire which he had smuggled in from the bathhouse and started to pick the lock. This was originally the metal support ring that was wrapped around the bathing buckets inmates used to wash themselves. His hands were stiff from the wintry cold, but after a few minutes of picking, he had success, and his cell door swung open. But he wasn't out of the woods yet, because there were more locked doors ahead. He knew he only had a few minutes left before the guards would return, and so he wasted no time attempting to pick his way through the remaining security doors. Now, fortunately for him, he was able to make it out of the facility, but the bad news was that he was only halfway to freedom. You see, he was still involved in the search for him, which meant at any moment the alarm could go off and he'd still be caught. At 5:45 a.m., the guards returned, peering into his cell, and this is what they saw. Shiratori sound asleep in his futon bed. But of course,
Magic. I'm declaring it now. This dude is magic.
What they didn't realize was that they were looking at something else. A pile of loose floorboards underneath his duvet designed to trick them. It wasn't until the next morning that they finally discovered the truth and the alarm was sounded. But by then, Shiratori was long gone. Now, he had escaped, but if you've watched any of our previous videos, you'll know that things
Which we haven't.
always.
Phoenix.
In fact, for Yoshie Shiratori, aka Prison Break Magician, this was only the beginning.
I said magic, and I was right.
3 days
Okay, so I was looking at the map and it had a Starbucks on it.
Yes, it did.
was caught
Okay.
with supplies from a hospital, and just like that, he was back in the slammer. But this time, for his escape attempt, he was sentenced to life in prison. He would never be with his family again, his wife and his daughter, and all the months of planning had led to just 3 days of freedom. It now seemed he'd be locked up for a very long time. 6 years later, in 1942, in the midst of the Second World War, Shiratori found himself transferred to Akita prison in Akita City. There, the guards treated him even worse than in Aomori. They had heard about Shiratori's previous escape and were determined to make an example out of him. They wanted to make sure he would never escape again. Along with the usual things, he was forced to partake in extreme manual labor, made to sleep on the hard concrete floor in the severe winter cold, and placed into solitary confinement for extended periods of time. Now, this was a specially made solitary confinement cell, which was very small and had a very high ceiling, with the walls covered with copper sheets so smooth that it was impossible to grip. In addition, there was almost no sunlight even in the daytime, with the only window light coming from a small sealed skylight.
I feel so bad for this dude.
Yeah.
Above. This was a room designed to keep escape artists from escaping, and if that wasn't enough, the guards also made sure that Shiratori was handcuffed at all times. Now, despite the constant abuse,
Why do they look like they're gonna kill him?
I don't know, but that dude has Harry Potter glasses.
I know, but I still hate him.
the guard's Kobayashi. In fact, the head guard took pity on him.
I mean,
That's
the whole story.
unpause it.
Fine.
Kobayashi never laid a finger and even seemed to check up on him from time to time, concerned for his well-being. Perhaps this made life a little more bearable for Shiratori, and it might have even been what kept his will alive all the way to the night of June 15th.
Yeah.
It was a stormy night, and Shiratori was in
It was a stormy night.
the middle of one of his extended stays in
beginning
solitary
of the book.
confinement. At around midnight, one of the guards peered into his cell and couldn't believe his eyes. He opened the cell door and looked around in astonishment, as Yoshie Shiratori had vanished into thin air.
Yes.
All that was left was his handcuffs. So how did he do it? Well, there were a few assumptions the guards made that did not apply to Shiratori. For one, handcuffs simply didn't work on him. Shiratori was actually a master of getting out of handcuffs,
Yes, he
and
was.
in fact had several methods to choose from. Here, he decided to go with the familiar lock-picking method, but he really could have gone with any of them. He had thoroughly scoured his surroundings to find anything that could be of use in an escape, and just like in Aomori prison, he was able to uncover a loose bit of wire. Perhaps it was from one of the items Kobayashi brought him, but this wasn't clear. After freeing himself from the cuffs, he placed his palms and soles of his feet on the smooth copper sheets.
This is why you never make a room this small. What were they thinking?
Yeah.
Started climbing an unclimbable wall. It turned out Shiratori was
What?
I guess they wanted to torture him.
Yeah, but he got out of a prison, and you're just gonna put him in a room that's totally scalable with lock.
No, they said it had copper sheets on the walls that were too smooth to climb.
Yeah, but yeah, you're right. I'm confusing myself.
also an expert climber with an uncanny ability to scale.
Why are we looking at this? It's
I guess that's
Looks
an
like
example of what
leash.
he looked like while he was.
a lizard on a leash.
Okay.
Like a lizard. Once he reached the skylight above, he noticed that, yes, the window was sealed, but the wooden framing around it was starting to rot. And so thereafter, night after night, when the guards weren't looking, he'd climb the copper walls and loosen the framing, bit by bit. Afterwards, he'd climb back down and place the handcuffs back on, as to not rouse suspicion. After a couple months, the window finally came loose, and from there, it was just about choosing the right day. He waited until a particular stormy night, so the guards wouldn't hear the footsteps on the roof. And that was it. He had escaped from prison again.
Serves them right.
He wouldn't. Or at least not in the way you'd expect. 3 months later, on September 18th, the head guard, Kobayashi, was at home when he heard a knock on the door. To his surprise, it was the fugitive Yoshie Shiratori, unkempt and disheveled, and he needed a favor. A stunned Kobayashi took him in and fed him, all the while listening to what he had to say. Shiratori explained that he didn't actually mind being in prison, and that the only reason he escaped twice now was due to the tremendous abuse he suffered at the hands of the sadistic guards. Kobayashi, however,
Yeah.
was the only one who treated him with any amount of respect, and so he felt he owed it to him to let him in on his grand plan. Now, this plan involved Shiratori willingly, yes, handing himself over to the Justice Department, where he could then personally make a case for how corrupt and barbaric the Japanese prison system was, and there needed to be reform. He wanted to campaign for change, and in the process, gain his legal freedom through a civil lawsuit. He felt this was the only way he could realistically end up with his family. This, of course, was a super ambitious plan, and as a fugitive on the run, he was well aware of that, which is why he needed Kobayashi, the well-respected head guard of Akita prison, to vouch for him, to strengthen his credibility. As the only guard who ever treated him right, he had a feeling Kobayashi would do the right thing. Minutes later, while Shiratori was in the toilet, Kobayashi called the police. Maybe not a great plan. Just like that, Shiratori was back in prison, and this time, he vowed never to trust an officer of the law again. For the second escape, the courthouse added 3 more years to his life sentence. Now,
Wait,
Shiratori...
how do you add 3 years to a life sentence?
How?
If you've already got a sentence for life, then oh, you're dead. So spend 3 more years in jail.
Anyway, if you guys know why they're doing this, or if you guys have watched this before, please tell us in the comments. Please subscribe. I only have 2 right now. Yeah.
Tokyo prison, where the weather was warmer, as he couldn't stand the cold in the northern prisons. His previous stint had weakened him severely, but he was denied his request. Instead, the judge sentenced him to the infamous Abashiri prison in Hokkaido, the northernmost prison. No man had ever escaped from this wintry of a prison. It was now
I'm sorry about that bad word, people.
1943.
Henry, it wasn't a bad word.
As the temperature in the cells
Japanese.
whenever inmates received their prison food, the miso soup and soy sauce would often freeze up. In this temperature, a handcuffed Shiratori was thrown into an open cell in summer clothing, and he immediately felt the paralyzing sting of cold air.
Poor dude.
Oh my god. That is barbaric.
Pushed himself past the guards, but they were able to push him back and move him down. An enraged and defiant Shiratori stood back up and vowed that he would escape from Abashiri prison, like he's always done, and that there was nothing they could do about it. In fact, he claimed there was little point even putting handcuffs on him, as he'd always find a way to break free. If not by lockpicking, then, well, this. He had to rip apart the chain of his handcuffs, to the horror of the guards. It turned out Shiratori had another special ability. Aside from his outstanding climbing abilities, he also possessed incredible strength, almost superhuman strength. Back in Akita prison, he could have broken free of the cuffs the physical way if he didn't have to put them back on. Now, this was impressive, but it wasn't so smart to lay his cards on the table like that, as the guards were starting to build an escape profile on him. They knew he had lockpicking abilities, lizard-like climbing abilities, and now almost superhuman strength. And so they set out to devise the ultimate escape-proof cell, one that was sure to be Shiratori-proof. And they came up with this. The new cell had steel fixtures with a low chance of rot. Any openings, even the bars removed, were made smaller than his body, meaning there was no way he could physically fit through. He had specially made solid iron handcuffs that tied his hands behind his back and leg cuffs that made him barely able to stand. These cuffs weighed 20 kgs each and had no keyhole, which meant they could not be.
Wow. That means that if they have no keyhole, it's basically you're stuck. Your arms are just going.
Oh, he did have a life sentence with 3 more years to death, so.
Yeah.
Picked. The only way they could be removed was by 2 metalwork specialists who would come once every few weeks to remove them in an arduous 2-hour process. It was at this point, and only this point, that he could even take a bath. And he certainly needed one, as weeks of being shackled up with no movement meant his cuff wounds were infested with maggots. On top of that, and his cold.
Ew. Wow, poor dude. He could die. He could have died. And he probably did die because that was a long time ago.
It wasn't even peak winter yet. Any strength he would have left would surely be nullified by the upcoming freeze. Though just in case, he still made sure to cut his already meager food portions in half. And so that was it. Even for Shiratori, this was too much. As winter came, he succumbed to his fate.
Okay, so I need to tell everyone something. We've run out of time in the episode. So we're going to do a 2 on this. And
Part
we're
2.
figure out if he escapes one or
And if he doesn't die.
Tell us what you guys think in the comments below. And we'll see if any of you are right. See you next time. Bye.